So, I just got done watching the Boston Celtics beat the Memphis Grizzlies 117 to 103, I think it was. And it's looking pretty scary, man. Not only in favor of the Boston Celtics, but against the Memphis Grizzlies. It's looking pretty scary. As we know, they just parted ways with a couple of their assistant coaches, along with their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, who I thought was doing a hell of a good job for the past couple seasons, past few seasons actually, with all the roster overhaul, with the injuries of last season, the injury-riddled season. John Morant, his star player, being in and out of the lineup and still finding ways to make his team successful, finding guys out of free agency, maybe even undrafted players, and making them, putting them in position to be as successful as they possibly can be within the team's style of play. But with saying all that, Taylor Rooks did a report earlier in the game, said the reason Taylor Jenkins was fired was due to the defense slipping late this season, losing 9 straight games to teams above 500 now against the Celtics, making that 10 straight games against teams above 500. She also quoted that she did not get confirmation that this was not something that John Morant was pushing for, as speculation has it. John Morant was not very happy with the way that the offense was being ran. He didn't appreciate the ball being in his hand a lot less, and throughout the year, he just wasn't happy with Taylor Jenkins for that reason. So there is speculation that John Morant was one of the leading factors for this coaching change. I will say that the new coach that they do have in there, and I forget his name, I forget how to pronounce it. He is an overseas coach, one of the better overseas coach that's come over as of late. I do think that they really believe in him, and they think that he can do a very good job leading this team moving forward. But yeah, it's looking pretty scary, bro. You lose 10 straight games to teams above 500, and you were a team that was at one point a 2 seed this season, looking to make a real playoff push once more, actually having the team at full health, at full strength after making a couple changes, trading away Marcus Smart and getting in some different guys, setting up the team in a way that everyone is able to be successful offensively, bringing in obviously the rookie Jaylen Wells. Not only is he great defensively, we saw him have a couple of possessions against Tatum in this game, but offensively he's really coming into his own as well, just a little bit. He's not having a breakout or anything, but Jaylen Wells has shown flashes of being a great offensive player throughout his career in the future. But yeah, man, it's just I don't understand why you would make that sudden change. I was watching the podcast, Numbers on the Board, if you're familiar with it. Pierre was saying that maybe they made that change now so he could get some playoff experience this season. So going into next season, he's not a rookie playoff coach. And when you put it in that aspect, and we put it in that perspective, I mean, it really does make sense. You want to get a guy that, obviously, he's, like I say, he's one of the greater Euro coaches coming over as of late. He's won championships over there, so he has experience, but NBA basketball obviously is a totally different game than Euro basketball. So to get that experience now, early, as an interim head coach, so to speak, so next season, if they do decide to go that way, he does have that experience under his belt along with the team. Obviously, this team has been in the playoffs the past few seasons, minus last year, but having a new coach in that position, grinding that 7-game series out with you, 4 series possibly if you make it to the NBA Finals, that perspective does make sense. But let's get into this game tonight. I started to turn it off. I'm not gonna lie. About 7 minutes into the game, there was maybe 10 3-pointers attempted from both teams as a combined total. The first 4 shots of the game were 3. 2 for both of the teams on either end, 1 for 4. Then after a couple attempts in the paint, Porzingis then attempts another 3. He did knock it down, but still it's like, oh my gosh, bro. Can somebody get a mid-range jumper? Can somebody get a layup? It was just like really nasty. Like I said, for like the first 4 minutes of the game, they were just chucking threes back and forth. The Grizzlies were getting a few to fall. They went 3 for 5 in the first few minutes. Drew Holiday took a damn near 3-foot step back with like 5 seconds left on the shot clock and air ball. It was like I was so close to turning this game off, and I'm glad I didn't, because this was a great game all things considered. Even though in that fourth quarter it was just out of hand, the Grizzlies they were down 15 with about 5.5 minutes left, and they cut it down to 7 on an 8-0 run. But then just fell apart once more, and we're gonna get into that a little bit later. But like I said, the 3-point shooting was just crazy. In that first quarter, Memphis went 5 for 11 from deep, 52% from the field as a whole, and the Boston Celtics went 4 of 15, 26% from the 3-point line, 35% as a whole, and trailed by 7 going into the second quarter. When you get a combined total of 26 3-pointers from both teams in that first quarter, I see why a lot of fans complain about the state of the NBA right now. I still enjoyed this game. Like I said, all things considered, it was a great game. But that is absurd, bro. Because the Boston Celtics shot 61 threes in this game. And since I'm on it, man, the title of the video, the Boston Celtics have an unnatural superpower. And that is the fact that when they're getting up threes, somehow there's something in the opponent's brain that just clicks and the switch flips to where they feel like they have to match that volume of 3-point shooting, and the Grizzlies fell right into that trap. In the back end of that second quarter, they were up by 11, and then the Boston Celtics just crept up and was able to take the lead because they were trying to go 3 for 3 with them and were missing. In the first, I don't even know. They were 7 of 15 from 3 at one point and ended up, 11 for 43 or something like that by the time the game was over from 3. It was nasty. It was bad. And like I said, that's just them trying. I'm not sure what their average is. I didn't even care to look because I don't care what your average is. What I saw in the game was them trying to match Boston Celtics shooting the 3-point ball in this game. You got Santi Aldama chucking threes damn near all game. Yes, he did give them 21 points off the bench, which is great because the rest of the 5 guys that got in gave you a combined 9 points. So shout out to Santi Aldama. But yeah, man, they have an unnatural, I don't want to call it a bad or a negative superpower because it's not bad nor is it negative because they win basketball games that way. Also, you can lose basketball games that way by, the shots not falling. If you saw Derek White and Drew Holiday in that first half, they went a combined 4 for, hold up, I have it here. Give me 1 second. Drew Holiday and Derek White went a combined 4 for 15 shooting, but they did combine for 11 assists as well. So they were doing the heavy lifting of the playmaking aspect in that first half of their 19 dimes for the Celtics. But like I said, the most troublesome part of the Celtics trailing in that first half was the fact that they were down 11. You had guys struggling offensively, while Al Horford was one of the biggest, brightest scorers for you, one of the brightest offensive pieces for you in that first half, ended up leading the game in scoring off of the bench with 26, the most points he scored in a game since February of 2021, mind you. The Grizzlies, like I said, started to settle for those shots, which they weren't doing earlier in the game. I even had this in my notes earlier. They were not settling for shots. They were taking what Boston was giving them, and that was winning them the game. They were doing great on defense with Zach Edey being out with those 2 early fouls. The defensive rotations were there all night, and it was just looking good like they were actually going to be able to be in this game and win. And they were being competitive all game. It wasn't like they were giving up, but when you consider how many 3-pointers they took to try to match Boston's volume, it just wasn't right. And it destroyed what they had going on because Ja Morant, I don't know if you watched this game or not. Give me 1 second. I don't know if you watched this game or not, but Ja Morant in this game was amazing quarters 1, 2, and 4. Third quarter, I'm not really sure what happened. I was watching, but I wasn't watching. And like I said, they were just trying to, the 3-point volume for the Grizzlies in that quarter and the misses that they were, putting up, it wasn't the most pleasant thing to see. So I did, avert my attention elsewhere. I was, kind of on the game a little bit. But Ja Morant was looking really good for them, especially in that first half. I think he had 19 points, and a lot of that was just getting downhill, attacking. Let me just read my notes, man. He was really doing his thing, man. Being aggressive, pushing the tempo, that's obviously how they get their offense generated the easiest. And from the beginning, First 5 minutes of the game, Ja Morant made it a point to get to paint touch after paint touch after paint touch, making the defenders have to make a decision. And in transition, like I said, he got a couple floaters to fall, and he was being just aggressive all game. But especially in that first half, he was just drawing fouls, not really getting the calls that he wanted and that he needed. He got fouled quite a lot in this game and missed a few calls. There was even a play where Porzingis like swiped the ball off the rim, which should have been a goaltend. But yeah, man, just to start off the second quarter, he was just ridiculous. Hit a deep three with the shot clock winding down. Then on the very next possession, damn near pins Derek White's shot off the glass. Then runs the break, gets to the corner, hits a three. I want to say over Derek White. And then on the very next offensive possession, gets a tough and one through traffic for a total of 8 points in just 3 minutes. Like I said, he finished off with 19 points. He also had 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal at the half on 7 of 9 shooting from the field. So I thought, this was a typical Ja Morant game. This was, everything that you want and that you ask for and that you expect out of Ja Morant on a night-to-night basis, being the leader of that team, being the all-star, being the all-NBA caliber player of that team. Like I said, attacking the rim, being ultra aggressive in transition, dimes, boards, and even had to put back after they missed 8 straight shots. Right before the half, he had a putback off of Jaylen Wells' corner 3. He had a tip dunk, 2-hand, hang on the rim to let them know, let's lock back in. I think at that point they were down by 5. But that was from them just trying to chuck up them threes. I want to say of those 8 straight misses, 5 of them may have been threes. So, he just was keeping them afloat, doing all that he could. But then, like I said, in that third quarter, he kind of took his foot off the gas a little bit. I wasn't really watching. That's on me. But like I said, it just wasn't that appealing for me to watch, honestly. And then Jason Tatum just being steady all game. And I'm going to get back to the Memphis Grizzlies. But he had a decent first quarter, man. 8 points, 3 rebounds, and an assist. He went 3 or 4 from the field. He should have went perfect, but he took that goofy-ass 3. 27 feet behind 27 feet, whatever. He kept his foot on the gas in that second quarter, though, and sealed the half with that smooth turnaround jumper from the free throw line. He ended up with 17 points, 9 rebounds, and an assist on 54% from the field. Like I said, he was a little off from 3, 2 for 6, but when he's getting to the lane and getting to his spots, and especially in transition early in that game, he was really making the defense pay. And then the most surprising, and honestly, I'm at a loss for words of how great Al Horford still is being one of the 10 oldest players in the league. When you consider the fact that he came off the bench in this game for Xavier Tillman, I don't know what that was about, why Xavier Tillman got his second start of the year, why Al Horford couldn't start. I mean, I guess it makes sense. You want a guy off the bench that can get you buckets, and that's exactly what Al Horford did in this game. 26 points to total off when the game was all said and done. In the first half, he ended up with 13 points, 4 rebounds, 3 of 5 from deep in the first half. Picking up the scoring much needed in that first quarter, especially with Derek White and Drew Holiday struggling to score the ball. I think Porzingis ended up with 5 points. Tatum had 8, and then Horford also gave you 8 in that first quarter. So with Jaylen Brown being out, Al Horford being the consummate pro that he is, just stepped up and did exactly what he needed to do. He's such an impactful player for him, like I said, to be one of the top 10 oldest players in the league, stepping up when the team needed him the most. Going into the fourth quarter, he already had 20 points. He just needed a couple more threes. Like I said, this is the most points he's scored since 2021, bro. So coming off the bench, leading the game in scoring as one of the oldest players in the league, that's in my opinion, the Memphis Grizzlies lost this game more than the Celtics won this game, if that makes sense. Just think about it. And then this video is getting a little bit longer than I wanted this to be, but damn, it's been a minute, guys. It's been a minute. Porzingis came alive in that second quarter, hit some big-time threes for them. He's being a beast down low. 16 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists. In my opinion, he's the biggest X factor for the Celtics come playoff time because when you consider how great they are without him, obviously Jaylen Brown was missing tonight. I don't know if they win this game without Porzingis giving them the production that he did offensively. But I think they are great without him. Like, if you sub out Porzingis for Jaylen Brown in this game, I think they still win this game. But if you have them all, I don't think Memphis was even in this game to begin with. That's just one of the things that if they're at full health, especially Porzingis, we know how he is up and down. They are a scary team, and that's one of the reasons why they are the defending champs, because they are great without him. But then you add him to the equation, it's just like what else can you do? 61 3-point attempts. Derek White breaking the single season record for 3-pointers for the Boston Celtics with 200. He broke it with 246. I think he ended up with 247, 248, something like that. Yeah, man, the Boston Celtics really just, that superpower that I mentioned, it's ridiculous how many teams fall into that trap. They see the Celtics getting up there. Like when I say 26 threes in the first quarter, go back and look at the play-by-play. Go back and watch those first 12 minutes of the game. 26 threes, and they were 9 for 26 as two teams combined. It was ridiculous. And then I'm going to end it off with Desmond Bane, man. In the first quarter, he was looking decent, man. He was getting himself in rhythm, opened the game with a three. Like, the first basket of the game was a Desmond Bane three. Hit a smooth midi over the defense off of a pick and roll. He ended up with 7 points on 3 or 4 from the field. Ja Morant, and Jaren Jackson combined for 22 of the 32 first quarter points, setting the tone for the rest of the team and showing that they weren't afraid of the Celtics. But he, however, did not put up a single point until 4 minutes and 16 seconds left in the fourth quarter. He did not get another single basket, and he only had 8 shots up to that point. That was his 9th shot with those 4 minutes left on the clock. So, like I said, I didn't really watch the third quarter that much, but if I had to guess, he didn't have the ball in his hands as much as he probably should have. Ja Morant definitely was dominating that ball from what I was watching. So Jaren Jackson also got his fair share. I think he ended up with about 20 or so. But yeah, man, the Memphis Grizzlies have a lot to figure out, because now with that win, the Boston Celtics go up to 9 straight wins. Obviously, that's the Eastern Conference. They go up to 9 straight wins. They're obviously secured in that second seed. The Cleveland Cavaliers being at 60 wins, I think they still have a 5-game lead. But out west, Memphis, like I mentioned earlier in this season, they were sitting at the 2 seed. And being at the 2 seed in this stacked Western Conference, you feel a little bit confident. Okay, now it's a 4-game difference, Cleveland and Boston. But being a 2 seed, you feel a little bit confident, especially with Golden State, how they started off the year. Los Angeles, how they started off the year. Minnesota and the Clippers are in the play-in as we speak. The Clippers obviously started off a lot better, but they are slowly falling down. They are now in the 5th spot on a 3-game losing streak, 18.5 games behind the 1 seed. Obviously, nobody's catching the Thunder. But they are now 5 games behind second. The Houston Rockets are 49-26. The Denver Nuggets 47-28. 2 games behind the Rockets. And then the Lakers are a game and a half behind Denver at the 4th place. And Memphis is a game and a half behind LA. So, yeah, man. You fire your coach at this point in time. Obviously, you there may be some ulterior motives. Some silver lining down the line in the future type of thing. But 10 straight games to teams above 500, that is not a winning. That's not a recipe for winning teams. Y'all seen me in my video the other day. The teams that have winning records above teams above 500. It was the Thunder, the Cavs, the Celtics, the Pacers, and the Lakers. So, you know what I'm saying? It's very selective who you can actually trust come playoff time. And out west, there's really only one team, because the Lakers were above 500 by 1. Obviously, that's a little skewed because Luka got traded halfway through the season, but we'll just have to see when the time comes. But with that being said, I'm going to get out of here. I appreciate y'all tuning in. My Thunder won, right? We won our game, right? Because we were dominating. Yeah, we're beating the Bulls right now, 136-103. Heading to our 63rd win of the year. Lakers game is kicking off against the Rockets. Mavericks versus Brooklyn Nets is in the third quarter, 79-74. The Heat smacked the Wizards 120-94, giving them their 59th loss of the year. Golly. The Clippers beat the Magic 96-87. Neither one of those teams put up 100. That's disgusting. 111-109. The Pacers took down the Kings by one possession. And then the Hornets beat the Jazz, two of the midiest teams in the league, 110 to 106. They both had a good game, I guess, competitive down to the wire. 60 losses for the Jazz. That is crazy. Anyways, your boy is out of here. As always, we enjoy basketball. Reach the sideliner. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.